everyone, welcome to KTAL News Now. I'm your host Anthony Mocklin, and today is Tuesday here on KTAL News Now, which means it is Tech Tuesday. It is most people's favorite day of the week where we go over all sorts of news regarding technology, entertainment, film, you name it, anything in the tech space or tech adjacent. And first up, yesterday was Cyber Monday. And if you scored some great deals, it's great for you. But as long as you're doing it safely, that's what's most important, because while it is a huge day for shoppers, it is also equally as big of a day for scammers and cyber scammers that are trying to steal your information, your credit card, your money, your wallet, anything online. So be sure that you're being careful, whether it's a questionable link that you're not sure is a safe website, or if there's a checkout process that needs very, weird information from you that you're not sure to trust it. It's always good to trust your gut and just double check before you hit pay on whatever website you're checking out from. But our reporter Hunter Trombetta got to speak with the TTPD to find out more on how you can stay safe online, even beyond Cyber Monday and throughout the holiday season.
If you're doing your holiday shopping online this year, that means you won't have to deal with any crowds, but you will have to be careful about scammers. The Texarkana, Texas Police Department shares a few simple tips to ensure no one messes with your shopping budget.
You're going to want to shop smart. You want to stick with those online retailers that you know and that you trust, that you've done business with perhaps before, that are reputable.
They also advise making purchases with credit cards or digital wallets, which often have more security features than debit cards.
And then once you do that, you want to go back and check your statements to make sure that there's not some kind of charges that have come up that you aren't expecting.
Also, it is important to keep in mind that if a deal seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Especially, on some of these marketplaces and stuff like that, just beware that there are people. It's very easy for them to set up these profiles, put this stuff out there, and then quite honestly, they just disappear after they get your money.
Even if everything goes smoothly in your online transaction, you still need to make sure porch pirates don't prevent your packages from becoming presents under the tree.
It's just a matter of trying to remove the opportunity as much as possible. If you can get that package off the porch, maybe delivered to a friend or a relative or something like that, it's a whole lot safer than maybe leaving it out there all day for somebody to have the opportunity to come by and steal it from you.
And if you're a regular audience member with KTAL News Now, you'll know on a previous segment I got to interview somebody from Amazon to find out how we can stay safe when ordering packages from Amazon, because it seems like they're the biggest when it comes to the Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals and the Prime shipping. It seems like that's like the most widely used service when it comes to ordering stuff online. And the person had some very insightful tips. There was one where whenever you're ordering and you're not going to be home, you can change your delivery to have it delivered to an Amazon locker. Or if it's through UPS, you can contact them and have it delivered to an access point through UPS to better protect your package, to where they'll hold it for you at their facility, and then you just have to go there with your ID and pick it up, give them your name, and they'll give it to you, no problem, for you to take home. So that's what I would recommend, and it seems like a lot of people would as well if you aren't planning on being home during the delivery of your package from wherever it may be. But you can find more information about online safety on our website at ktalnews.com, and you can find other stories and previous editions of our KTAL News segments on our YouTube at KTAL News. So you can find that interview with the Amazon spokesperson to hear more from him. But in more local news, specifically the SciPort Discovery Center, they are unveiling their brand new flight simulator. And KTAL's Yalisha Gatewood has more on the sights and sounds of what people can expect with the new edition.
The exhibit will inspire curiosity and excitement for aviation and STEM. The simulator will be integrated into SciPort's educational programs, giving students and aviation enthusiasts a chance to explore aerodynamics, physics, and the engineering behind flight, featuring an actual aircraft from Barksdale Air Force Base.
First thing that jumps out to me is just the pure entertainment factor of it, but it couples so well with STEM-based learning and obviously the laws of flight and physics, and it's just a phenomenal way to teach kids about flight and then have a hands-on experience to tie it all together for them.
The simulator gives visitors an educational and unforgettable experience.
And for more information about SciPort, its hours of operation, and even the new flight simulator, you can visit our website at ktalnews.com. Now, when it comes to film, specifically film in Shreveport and short films, the community is very, very vibrant. There's so many talented filmmakers, directors, actors, producers, staffers, like everything that goes on behind the scenes, crew members, like you name it, everybody has a hand in making art and art specifically in film. And Shreveport itself has previously been dubbed the Hollywood of the South, and the Shreveport Film Commission is working to keep that name. And KTAL's Susan Curtin got to speak more with the commissioner to see what has been going on in film around the area.
This year has really, I like to tell everybody that it was kind of the year of our independent film community, like really taking hold of what we are here. And we've saw a lot of that happen. This Tuesday actually is a film called Portal in the Pines. There was a locally produced film here by Eric Gibson. And, you know, this shows again, this will be at Robinson Film Center, by the way.
Right.
But, you know, we've had a lot of stuff happen in our independent community where we've seen everybody sort of make their own film. And we're continuing to grow that community and how we can help people make their own films.
We have some incredible filmmakers here. Alex Jeffrey just did a film about pickleball. You know, that's going to be distributed nationally. Portal in the Pines, as you said, is coming out. Other feature films like The Twin and like Peeping Todd are making their rounds. And so these are all people who have kind of grown up in the film industry here.
Yeah, and it gives us, you know, a worldwide, you know, reach from stuff that was produced just right here.
Right, right. So you just had a trip to Los Angeles?
Yes.
Okay, how'd that go?
Well, you know, it's Los Angeles.
It is.
But, you know, besides all that, you know, we went out there with an organization called Film Louisiana and basically got to sit down with all the major studios and really, you know, tell them the story that Louisiana is open for business still.
Right.
And, you know, we are looking forward to having them come down and do some tours with them and show them around, but we're really getting them involved in what we're doing, you know, here in the film industry.
So, I mean, we all know that, you know, 50 Cent is coming with G Studios, but, you know, apart from all of that, you know, we have our own film community here that's still here, that's been here. Are there going to be any training initiatives for people who maybe want to get into the industry?
Yeah, so we started this year these film industry meetups, and we're going to be doing them every quarter. Again, this is at Robinson Film Center. We love them so much for helping us with stuff. So. But I think the next one probably will be about February, March of next year, so we'll announce that. But what this is a group that will get together and get people put into that pipeline, but also tell them about what training programs are going on. And, you know, we are looking for this next year to create new things, to have trainings for people that want to get into the industry with no experience. We also are going to do a training this next year about film financing, how to get involved and put your money into a film. How does the film tax credit work? I think a lot of that needs to get out there.
Right, I think it does. And there are a lot of people who think I would love to work in this industry. I don't know how, I don't know what I would do, but everybody can be trained. These are jobs you can learn, and start small. Start with the smallest position, and then you can move up from there once you see kind of how other people work and what they're doing. Something may jump out at you as something that you really enjoy.
This is a industry that we can put anybody in, and I'll stand on that. You know, it's about the person. If you're a hardworking person and you want to learn this business, let's get you in that pipeline.
And submissions are now open for 2026's Louisiana Film Prize. Admissions are open until early July. I believe it's July 7th. That is the deadline to submit your short film. And for those of you who aren't familiar, Louisiana Film Prize is the largest cash prize awarded to a short film in the world. And that takes place in Louisiana, in specifically Shreveport, each and every year. And there's a showcase of so much talent that goes on display, whether it's short films or documentaries. And that is really, really always a fun event. And if you are interested in submitting your work and getting into the film industry, You can learn more about that at prizefest.com. It doesn't just cover film, they do comedy fest, they do taco wars, food prize, like all kinds of different things in entertainment. So there's a vast array of opportunities there for creatives and cooks and chefs and everything, you name it. Whatever talent you have, I'm sure there's a competition for that, but you can learn more about it at prizefest.com and our website at ktalnews.com. Now, when it comes to AI, I know a lot of people, including myself, are pretty tired of it being just forced everywhere. And one game executive recently called it out, and specifically the executives who are trying to force it into everything. And that is Rockstar Games co founder Dan Houser, where in a recent interview on a podcast, he compared AI to mad cow disease. And he says that the executives that are pushing AI and everything aren't fully rounded humans, which I gotta say, I respect him a whole lot for calling people out finally, because it just seems like these executives, they're just wanting to cut costs and lay off just thousands of workers just to save a buck, and using AI to do automated tasks and do the work for them. And it's costing people their livelihoods, their salaries, and they can't even afford to feed families. And there's a lot of rising fears when it comes to AI and how it could potentially wipe out the white collar entry level workforce. If you watched previous editions of KTAL News Now, you'll know I went on an entire rant about AI and how it's taking jobs, and just very, very bad thing, but it's still being force fed to us in every aspect of life, it seems. So props to Dan Houser for calling them out. And in his full quote, the full context of the quote, he said that AI, when he compared it to mad cow disease, he says that AI resourcing all this information, and especially large language models like ChatGPT, where they pull information from the web to get information, they are scouring the internet for that stuff. But as more AI models and generative AI keep creating this information, they're going to start pulling from their own sources and potentially made up stuff. And if you've seen anything from ChatGPT in the last few months or so, you know that it is obviously not the most reliable thing in the world when it comes to fact checking the information. It can give you false results and misinformation. So that's a very big problem right now when it comes to AI models. And when it comes to the eating itself part of it, that's where he compared it to mad cow disease, where that was first discovered whenever cows started eating cows, essentially, where dead cows and bone matter specifically was crushed up into their food, and they ended up contracting a virus from inside of the bones, and that gave them mad cow disease and drove them insane, essentially. That's where that comes from. If you want to look up more about that, I suggest Googling it. I don't know the specifics of it. It's not off the top of my head, but he says that with the executives that are supposedly trying to define the future of humanity and creativity, he says that these people are not the most humane or creative people, which is true. It all comes down to laziness at the end of the day. And if I don't know if it's the same for any of you at home, but it seems like more and more people are resorting to some sort of AI chatbot or language model to just do basic tasks for them, or to essentially think for them. There have been so many studies that have released recently where it has shown that models like ChatGPT are, in fact, making us dumber. It is declining when it comes to critical thinking skills, because you're essentially asking it to think for you instead of going out and getting the information yourself. Now, I understand that it has very practical effects when it comes to time constraints, and you're trying to use automation to do something that's very tedious or time consuming, and that is perfectly fine. But when you're asking it to essentially research things for you, when not all of the results will end up being 100% true or factual, and then you have to do more work to fact check that and then make sure it's not feeding you misinformation. It just seems like a lot of work to just try to skirt around something instead of going out and doing the work yourself and just looking and trying to find that information for yourself, because it can be very, very difficult to, I guess, go on without it if you're attached to it, because there have been so many cases and news reports of people getting too emotionally attached to these chatbots where it has driven them to depression, it's led to divorce, and even in some cases, suicide. And it's just a very, very tough situation, and it's not really helping the mental health crisis that's going on in the country right now and just worldwide. And, anytime that I can advocate for creativity and the human experience, especially when it comes to art, whether it's gaming, movies, television, anything of that nature, I consider myself a staunch advocate for that. So props to Dan Hauser again for calling out the executives who are essentially just trying to save a penny when it comes to their bottom line. And it seems like so many huge companies are doing that, like Meta and Microsoft. And for context, with Microsoft, they are making a really big push where in early November, their Windows and Devices president tweeted out that Windows is evolving into an agentic operating service connecting devices, cloud, and AI. And as a result, a lot of people predictably were pretty unhappy with this. And this resulted in a wave of criticism across the board, not just with Microsoft, but everything, the way that Windows is operating. And their rage was particularly pointed towards Microsoft prioritizing these AI tools over already known issues that are affecting Windows 11. And if you've been paying attention with the Windows 11 release, as of today, Windows 10 was no longer supported by Windows, so it's pretty much forcing people to try to make that jump to Windows 11. And every core aspect of it has been almost a complete failure at most levels. And a huge reason why people are straying away from it now is because of its huge integration with AI and Copilot. That's Microsoft's version of their AI model. And people just are tired of it. And I don't blame them at all. And their AI CEO, Mustafa Suleyman, responded to the backlash that was going on with AI. And he said that it cracks him up when he hears people call AI underwhelming. And he was just kind of mind blown by the fact that anyone could be, quote, unimpressed that we can have a fluent convo with AI that can generate any image or video. And I don't think the outrage is toward the unimpressiveness of the technology. It is very impressive that we are able to do this stuff. That's not what people are arguing, I don't think. I think it's just the fact that, like I was saying before, the tendency to just shove it in every aspect of the day-to-day work that you're doing on a computer, specifically a Windows or Microsoft, they're just feeding it into everything and making it inseparable from just doing normal tasks, which I think people are pretty tired of, and it really just causes more headaches than it does alleviate like it's supposed to do. And they pretty much said that putting AI in everything, like I echoed before, was just to try to appease their shareholders instead of focusing on the issues that were already prevalent and the ones that users, the actual people using the operating system, actually care about. So I think it was a very out of touch comment from them. And I think they've completely and it's not just him, it's just every person in tech right now. And that is pretty much putting all their chips into this AI fad and trend. And I think they're just severely out of touch. They're thinking that this could revolutionize the way we do things as human beings, which could be true, but I think we should more so focus on the tasks at hand when it comes to hunger and homelessness and low wages and not being able to afford to live, rather than being able to generate a shark with shoes on. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just very frustrating from a consumer standpoint, and just like the average person when you look at these tech millionaires and billionaires that are funding billions and trillions of dollars in AI when it could be used for better things and things that people actually need. So that's the end of my soapbox for that. But when it comes to other tech related news, specifically on Twitter, they recently rolled out a brand new feature. And for context, whenever Elon Musk took over Twitter back in 2022, he promised that he would fix the bots issue where all these fake accounts kept coming up. And that really didn't seem to happen. In fact, it's probably a lot worse than it was before when it comes to fake engagement accounts. And a lot of these engagement accounts were ousted essentially with a new Twitter feature that rolled out in late November, where if you clicked a person's profile, you can see what year and month they joined the platform. But if you click on that for an expanded view, it also shows what country the account is based in. And this exposed a lot of these engagement farming accounts, specifically right-wing Make America Great Again accounts, where they were just posing as like Trump for all and president, like they were all hyping up Trump the entire time. But in reality, they were based in not in the USA. And the same was this for these left-leaning accounts where they were also not based in the USA. So it just goes to show that how rampant and problematic the issue is on platforms like Twitter, which I consider to be one of the leading, if not the leading platform for breaking news and just knowing stuff right now and right then and there. And the fact that these engagement accounts were able to do so and build up millions of followers and try to sway people's opinions and incite discord and disagreements, it's just not what we need right now. If anything, the divide that is going on right now in the country is something that can easily be fixed if it wasn't as sensationalized and pushed by these engagement farming accounts. And this was a problem back whenever Elon implemented verification system for anybody, where you can just buy a subscription to Twitter Blue, I think it's called, and you can anyone can get a check mark and monetize their posts by the amount of engagements that they get. And they were clearly able to make a profit off of this because with inciting these disagreements, you would get a lot of people commenting and arguing. So that just boosted up their numbers, and that was just money in their pockets. They really didn't care what they were saying. And hopefully this ends up being pretty cracked down soon, because this is just not good for anybody who is trying to get away from all that. And it can definitely seep into people's feeds every now and then because of just how big these accounts were and their posts were getting. So it's just really, really important that we try to lock down these accounts and make sure that this transparency is the norm moving forward, so people know exactly what is happening and where it is coming from. Because if you have all these bot farms in other countries that are trying to meddle in US politics, it just does not spell anything nice. If anything, it spells disaster moving forward in an increasingly digital age. But hopefully they crack down on that, but I doubt it, because it makes them money, it makes the platform money, it gives them more engagement, more people are on the platform for a longer time, just trying to argue with everybody. It's just not good for anybody in regards to any aspect of life, especially mental health. It's just not something that people should be subjected to on social media. So, just try to stay away from that, or block or mute or whoever, just to try to keep that off of your feeds. But enough about that. Moving on to something more positive when it comes to Remarkable Women, specifically our station's Remarkable Women contest that submissions are now open for. It is an annual contest that is honoring local heroes around the area, and this includes local advocates, community leaders, and everyday heroes, and they are recognized for their service and commitment in our communities around the area. And whenever we choose the finalists, they are highlighted across all of our platforms, both online and on air. And not just that, but they also receive cash prizes to charities of their choice. And we highlight each finalist story during Women's History Month in March. And the winner will get $1,000 to spend at any charity of their choice, but they will also get a round-trip flight and paid trip to Nashville, Tennessee for the National Remarkable Women Awards in Nashville. And the deadline to submit somebody in your life who you think is a remarkable woman and is deserving of this recognition and praise, the deadline is December 19th. So we are a little over 2 weeks away from that deadline. So be sure to get your submissions in. If you have somebody that in your life who you think is a champion of the community and is making a difference in her friends, her community's lives in a positive way, this is definitely where you need to go to submit her. You can scan that QR code right next to me, or you can find more information on our website at ktalnews.com. Again, if you have somebody in your life who you know is involved in charities and helping the community, you can win a cash prize to any charity of your choice. And if you go on to win the national awards in Nashville, you get hundreds of thousands of dollars on charity funding to give to any charity of your choice. You also get an ad campaign that will go on air and on our online to make your cause known and to support those in need. So again, all you need to do is scan that QR code right there, or visit our website at ktalnews.com to find out more and how you can nominate a remarkable woman today. But that's all I have today for today's episode of KTAL News Now. Be sure to visit us on ktalnews.com, which is where we stream every day, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. And you can find our previous editions of KTAL News Now on our YouTube page at KTAL News. But for now, I'm Anthony Mocklin. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you for joining us.